Thank you. Thank you very much. It's great to be here. I think we're in the middle or the early stages of a revolution in data processing. And revolutions are kind of scary times, and you're not quite sure where you want to be, where it's going to be safe, and what you ought to be doing. And so I'm going to try to steer you through some of that, and hopefully give you some guiding principles to understand where this is headed, and why you can be confident that it's something that you want to be a part of. So I'd like to start with the sort of origins of big data. In a large part, it's grounded in Moore's law, which has provided us with an abundance of hardware that's unlike any other we've seen in other technologies. For 30 years, we've had exponential improvement in the speed of processors, the amount of memory, speed of networks, size of hard drives. All of these fundamental measures, we've seen this incredible improvement, thousand-fold improvement thousands-fold improvement on each of these measures, which is unlike anything in any other technology that I can think of. Anybody here think of anything that's done anything like that elsewhere? Transportation hasn't. Home size hasn't. It's hard to think of anything comparable, really. At the same time, this technology has been adopted. I mean, this has been driven by demand. People have found uses for all of these processors, for all of this network bandwidth, for all this hard drive space. And what that means is that businesses are becoming more and more digitized. In fact, I believe it's a case that the areas where the economy is growing fastest are the areas where technology is being adopted most. So it's a huge part of where we're headed, and if that trend continues, then it becomes a dominant part of our economy, this use of technology. What that means is that our businesses, our activities, are generating data. Data is coming out everywhere at the seams of what we do. And we have the raw capacity, the theoretical ability to store, analyze, and process this. I think of it in many ways as a high-resolution image of what we're doing that we could save. And yet, in many cases, people don't save because they don't have the methods, the tools, the technologies to effectively harness it. So I think the classic enterprise data technologies weren't really designed with this world in mind, with the prevalence of data, the variety of forms of data that we see. And so a revolution began. So let's think about the aspects of what define big data. One of the big ones is, the obvious one is scalability. It's big, right? What we mean by that is, in part, that you have lots of hardware that you can use, that hardware is affordable. So if you think about hardware that is a tenth the cost per byte stored, you're going to be able to store 10 times the amount of data. So the hardware affordability improves scalability. Exotic hardware is out in terms of scalability. You need to be running on commodity hardware. Another big component of scalability is the software and having scalable algorithms. So in order to scale, you need to be distributed. You can only build a single computer so big, and at some point, if you want to do more computation, store more things, you need to have multiple computers on a network. And once you've accepted that, then you need to have distributed reliable methods. If you have 100 machines and one of them fails once a day, that's much worse than having one machine that fails once a day. Sorry, I said that wrong. Let me try that again. I'll start at the other end. If you have one machine that fails once a month, that's OK. If you have 1,000 machines and any of them fail once a month, that means that on average, you'll have multiple failures a day, which means that big computations can't be assumed to run reliably across all of them. You have to assume that machines are going to fail in the course of running computations. So you have to build in this distributed reliability. Now, fortunately, in computer science, through the years, there's been a lot of work done on